I am Jenny Rock from Jenny Rock Coaching, and I am here today to talk about what happens next. So, you put on your big girl pants, you're left, and then what? Because a lot of people assume that when you leave the relationship, then that's when the problems end. But it's not. Sometimes that's when the problems actually really ramp up and start. So, leaving is a really kind of crucial point in the process where it's really important to have a safe exit plan, because the number of times it kind of escalates beyond control is unacceptable. So you really have to put your safety as a priority, and that has to continue after you've left, because what you possibly will face will be threats, intimidation, acts of revenge, harassment, stalking, deliberate sabotage, trying to get you in trouble at work, trying to make false reports against you. The list kind of goes on and on. Anything that you can imagine and worse, generally, is what they can do, because they cannot accept the fact that you have made a decision to leave them. And it's like they have to win. So not only are you facing your own emotional battles where you are trauma bonded and you are trying to do the right thing because your head is saying this is the right thing to do, but your heart is saying, oh no, I don't want them to get into trouble. I miss them. I love them. Blah, 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 blah. Putting you up against a wall and pinning you there by the throat is not love. Pushing you around is not love. Screaming abuse at you is not love. Pushing you about and calling you names is not love. And it's really important. Oh, thank you, Tim. Happy birthday. It's my birthday today. And I thought I'd spend a little bit of time with you guys, because, it's really important to me that I continue to help any of you that are in this situation. But I think the crux of what I'm saying is that you think everything is going to end when you walk out that door. It does not. It continues. And one of the most important things I can suggest is to keep a record. Keep a record of the harassment. Keep a record of the text messages, the phone calls. Do not engage. Do not reply to their messages. Do not reply to their phone calls. If they threaten to turn up if you don't answer, let them turn up. When they turn up, do not admit them to where you are. Do not let them in. Tell them to leave. Call the police. This is not the time for you to be feeling sorry for them, or for you to be sending them to jail, which is what they will claim. You are not sending them to jail. Their behavior is what is sending them to jail. So this is the time when you have to be really dedicated and committed to following through, because if you don't, they're just going to suck you back in, and it's going to be even worse the next time round. So record keeping is really, really important, and also boundaries. Now, boundaries are something that a lot of people talk about, and not everybody really kind of understands quite what they are there for. So agreements are there to help you communicate. Boundaries are there to protect you. So boundaries can be things such as, I am not responding to any kind of aggression or threatening behavior. If we need to communicate regarding the children, that is fine. But the minute that crosses the line into harassment or abuse, then the communication stops. That's a boundary. Another boundary could be that my place of work is sacred to me. You do not contact me at work. You do not contact anybody that I work with. You do not turn up at my workplace. That is a boundary. And things like stalking and harassment are criminal. That means that you should report them to the police. And this is not you getting them into trouble. I promise you, this is not your fault. This is their problem and their failure to respect the boundaries. and their failure to behave in a normal civilized manner when they are told that somebody does not wish to communicate with them and they continue pursuing that communication. That's not you that's not you creating that problem. That is them creating that problem themselves. So it's really, really important that you have these boundaries in place and you decide what will and will not be tolerated. And you decide what is right for you, because nobody else can make that decision. Only you can. And it's really difficult sometimes to hold firm those boundaries, because whatever happens, they might be your child's father. And you don't want your child to not have that relationship. And yet you're conflicted, because if you pursue a criminal prosecution, and you report them to the police and the police come and they take them away and then they end up with a court case, you will feel as though that's your fault. And you have to change that thinking to know that that is not your fault. That is their fault. They have created that situation. And I know I did it. I went through that. I didn't want him to go to jail. I didn't want him to get into trouble. I wanted my son to have a relationship with his father. I wanted to keep that line of communication open, but I wanted to be left alone. So it was a very, very difficult line to tread for me. And it was one that obviously I learned the hard way, like I learned every single lesson. I learn all my lessons the hard way. It's okay. And there is a benefit to that. The benefit of that is I can tell you what pitfalls there will be, because I've been there and I've kind of thrown myself into those pits head first, and I had to climb my way back out. But if I could change anything, I would change my boundaries. I would put boundaries in place, because I didn't have any boundaries for a long, long time. And I was manipulated and terrorized and harassed for years. And I kind of feel like a fool I allowed that to continue. But I have to be kind to myself and think I did the best that I could with the information that I had available at that particular time. And that was it. I did the best I could. I didn't know that there were other options available. Had I known, I don't know. I kind of knew, but I didn't have the courage. I would say I didn't have the courage to pursue those options, because I knew that it would cause holy hell, and I didn't want to have to go through that, and I didn't want my son to have to witness that. So I avoided that situation. So I think it's really important that you understand that you have choices and you get to choose to put boundaries in place and what boundaries they are. You get to choose what communication you have and what you will and will not tolerate in that communication. I normally advocate, if there's no children involved, block, complete radio silence, complete and utter no communication by phone, by text, by email, no communication in person, absolutely nothing. And anything that needs to be resolved can be resolved through the lawyer. And that is because the minute that you re-engage, the minute that you give them a tiny, tiny, tiny little opening in communication, they will be like a tidal wave pushing against that opening, trying to communicate with you and trying to tell you how everything is your fault and trying to tell you how you've ruined their lives and it's all your fault, and basically their life is not worth living, and they're going to go down the whole, can't live without you, if I can't have you, nobody can have you, I would rather kill you first. You will go through all of those, and I know that because I've been there. The minute you reopen those communication lines, it will be like a floodgate opening and it will start all over again. And then you have to reset all your boundaries all over again. And when you've done all that hard work, sometimes you will slip. And that's okay, because you're human. You're not a machine. So sometimes you will make a mistake and you will allow that communication to just slip in. because you're having a weak moment. But you know what? You can pick yourself up, you can dust yourself off, and you can start again. But you're not starting from the bottom this time. It's like going up a set of stairs and forgetting what you've gone up for. It happens to me a lot. Forgetting what you've gone up the stairs for, and then you're kind of like halfway up the stairs, and then you kind of come back down a few steps, but then you remember, so you go back upstairs. So you're not starting. I hope that analogy made sense. I really don't think it did. I think I was just wittering. But the the point of the situation is that whenever you slip, whenever you make a mistake, you are never going right back to the beginning because you have done so much work already. So you're pushing a ball up a hill and it's a very heavy ball. And sometimes you'll slip a little bit. And sometimes it'll be hard to push that ball up the hill, but you will get there. You just have to keep pushing. Okay, so that's how it works because we automatically assume that everything is going to be hunky dory and fantastic and butterflies and roses and fairy sprinkles when we leave, and it's not. We then move into possibly the next hardest phase, which is the boundary setting, the communication, the having tolerance towards yourself being human, having the kindness to yourself to say, you're doing the best you can, it's okay. Okay, today you're having a sad day. I'm going to cry all day, lay in bed and feel sorry for myself. But you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to get up. I'm going to do that stuff that I intended to do. Because do you know what? Tomorrow is a whole new day, and tomorrow is going to be a better day. And it's about having that attitude towards the situation that will give you the energy to actually keep pushing that ball up the hill. And eventually they will find a new supply. Eventually they will find a new partner, and the attacks on you will be lessened. I'm not going to say they're going to go away because they won't. The only time that you can make this stop is by having hard boundaries and immediate consequences every single time those boundaries are breached. And when I'm talking about consequences, I'm not talking about sending them to bed with no dinner. I'm talking about you call the police, you inform the authorities. Yeah. If they're behind bars and they're still contacting you with, sort of smuggled in phones, you tell the police. If they are sending you letters, if they are sending you emails threatening, you call the police. The police are there to help you. And most cities now have domestic violence or domestic abuse centres. So most cities and towns have them. And what you can do is you can actually contact them yourself and say, I've just come out of a domestic abuse, I've just come out of a toxic relationship and I've been abused, and I would really love some help in terms of boundary setting or counselling or therapy, or I'm not safe. He's threatening me and I'm not safe. They can help you. They can help you. And it doesn't matter what your circumstances are, you have the power to change it. But you have to speak up and you have to accept help. And that, again, that was one of the hardest things for me, was accepting help, because I am so independent. It's stupid. I'm so stubborn. And I hate admitting that I need help. And I regularly kind of, try and do things that I can't really do by myself and fail and then have to ask for help. And I'm really stubborn about it. And it's really frustrating for everybody around me. And I know that it's one of my biggest struggles, and I know that I'm going to get there one day in terms of managing that struggle. But when you are in that kind of situation, you need to take whatever help you can get. So you need to, if somebody is offering you help and they are a safe person, you take that help. If somebody is offering you help and they are not a safe person, then you need to kind of take a step back and think, oh, well, what's going on here. And when I'm talking about safe people, I'm talking about the people that have got your back. I'm talking about people like the domestic abuse people, the police. I'm talking about your inner circle of friends who never left you, that are there for you. I'm talking, the ones that will come to you at midnight and pick you up with a suitcase and just take you wherever you need to go without question. We all need to have people like that in our lives. And if you haven't got that circle, then you need to create that circle. Find people that are in a similar situation to you and bond with them, over shared experiences. If you have friends at work, or if you have co-workers that you get on well with at work and you've never kind of extended that friendship outside of work, well, what's wrong with arranging to go for a coffee with them one day on a day off, just to get to know each other better? You'll find friends online in groups. Okay, they're not in your city. They might not be in your city. They might not even be in your country, but they can be an ear when you're feeling down, when you're feeling sad. You can post in the group and say, I'm really tempted to just throw it all in. This is so hard. I can't cope anymore. And they will pull you back. They will be your inner circle. So these people and these places are out there. You just have to be willing to accept them and to let them in to help you. So I was very bad at that. I will say I was really, really bad at letting people help me. But not anymore, because now I know that sometimes the people that want and need to help me need to do it so that they feel that they are showing their love. And that's the way that they show that they care, is by helping you. And you need to let them do that sometimes. So I think it's really important that you understand and you accept that that when you leave that relationship, it is not going to be all fairy dust and roses. It's not. You've got another battle to fight. If you're lucky, they will skulk away like rats under the floorboards and you will never see or hear from them again. But that's not the majority of cases. So my wish for you today is that whatever stage of relationship you are at, that you stay safe.